Hey everyone, Michael Greenwood here. Right, okay, so yeah, it's another business lesson today. Right, so I've been in business for 16 years. I own a digital marketing company, started it in 2009. We're doing pretty well. I've got a small team, so I feel that I'm qualified to give some help and advice on how to overcome some challenges. So I'm actually going to talk about a challenge that I'm facing right now and how I'm planning on overcoming it. And it's a mindset thing, really. We call it the terror barrier in the business. So I first heard that phrase, the terror barrier, from Sandy Gallagher. Yeah, we're listening to a bit of Sandy Gallagher, and she was talking about this idea of a terror barrier. So what's the terror barrier, and how can this be helpful? So everything in business for me is a problem to be solved, really. And this idea of the terror barrier is the old paradigm, looking at holding us back and dragging us back into the comfort zone where we're nice and safe, rather than going out there and growing the business or changing ourselves in order to become a better version of ourselves, who is needed to run that bigger, more scaled up version of the company. So what I'm doing at the moment is I've got an accountability coach, and I'm meeting him again on Friday, and I need to hit some targets. So today I've got to do 4 hours cold calling, yeah, which is like absolutely brutal cold calling. But I'm used to doing it, but I've not been doing it lately. You know, it's not really been part of the marketing plan. So we've introduced it, and I'm going to build it up as an habit. So what I'm doing it for 100 days. So that's 100 working days, so Monday to Friday, basically. Now, kind of had a day off yesterday, so I didn't do any yesterday. So I'm kind of debating now whether to do 8 hours today, just really catch up on what wasn't done yesterday. But yesterday were a planned day off, so I planned half day off, and then, I didn't do any cold calling, basically. So yeah, we're only human. I know we're business owners, but sometimes we do have a kind of off day. But today we're back on it, right? So we're really back on it today, and making sure that we're getting the cold calling done. It just takes discipline. But what I wanted to get across in this video is how everything in business starts with a thought, and you've got to associate emotion with that thought as well, and then those thoughts become actions, right? So if we're ever trying to change an habit, it all starts in the mind. It doesn't start with the actions. It starts with making the decision to change the actions, basically. So if we try to just change the actions without changing the mindset, then that's often how we kind of fall over with things. So this terror barrier, what is it? It's essentially the old paradigm, the old perspective, the old way of thinking, the old version of ourselves, really, with that belief system, with those beliefs and feelings and all that kind of thing. And the emotions can really take all over. The emotions can really change your mindset. So getting the emotions right, making decisions, reinforcing by doing the steps daily is really important. So what are some of the things that I'm doing today to overcome this terror barrier? Well, for a start, I've just got to do the work. So doing the work's very important. I was watching Mad Men once, and it were a point where Don Draper, he'd gone through his alcohol problems. It was towards the latter end of the show, really, one of the later seasons, and it messed up in a meeting. He talked about something to do with growing up in a brothel and stuff like that, some of his childhood, which were just inappropriate in the meeting, and he kind of just lost his way. He'd lost his self, and then he were back in work after a break, after he'd been demoted or something like that. and I know he were a partner. I know he had, you know, shares and everything, but he were back at like a junior position. And the advice from one of his colleagues was do the work, do the work done. And that always resonated with me. Just you got to get the work done, especially as a small business owner. We wear lots of hats, don't we? And we have to do lots of different things. And the thing is, a lot of the things in the business are non-negotiable. At this point in my business, doing this cold calling is absolutely non-negotiable. It's absolutely got to be done, so I've got to get it done, because this is going to pave the way to me being able to hire people for cold calling and grow that department, basically, grow that part of the business, which is a key part of my marketing plan, basically. So as I'm gearing up, ready to do this today, I'm spending a bit of time doing gratitude, doing some affirmations. I'm going to have another coffee, and then I'm going to get my timer out. I'm going to get my data loaded up, my script, get my recorder on, because I'm going to send the recordings to my coach to review. You know, if there's a fresh pair of eyes and everything like that, because it's all about improvement. It's all actually about making a start, and then looking at the data, and then looking at what can be improved. So what is said, the tonality. It's important to have a script so that can be repeatable. So there's a repeatable process. You can't train people. Let me put that in context. I've got to do the thing, get better at the thing, and then systemize the thing into SOPs, and then train other people on doing the thing. And I want A players as well. So I'm not training people from scratch. I want people who are already good at cold calling. And what I've got to do is get to an higher competency level myself. Even though I'm quite competent at cold calling, I want to really get to that kind of top level of sales now. You know, it's just like one of my ambitions. I get to that real top level, like that top few percentile or whatever, top 2% or whatever it is. So yeah, I've been doing the training, getting the practice in, and all that kind of thing. And now we're going to do 100 days of it. So you can actually embed an habit. A lot of this stuff is that I'm talking about is about creating a new habit. So killing off the old paradigm. The old paradigm is the old version, becoming a new person. You know, a brand new version of yourself, a better version of yourself, working towards becoming the best version of yourself. So you've probably heard all this thing before, but to see it play out in real time is something that I know a lot of people talk about this, but I'm in the midst of this business, of growing this business, and you can probably see from my face that it's kind of like uncomfortable and painful, and I'm trying to still, even with all this knowledge and awareness and all that kind of thing, push through this terror barrier, because it's one thing knowing about it, what's going on. It's another thing actually getting the stuff done to get there. So I don't know if you resonate with this at all, but coming out your comfort zone is inherently painful. It requires perseverance, resilience, discipline, so the ability to give yourself a command and follow through on it. It's inherently difficult to do, because the comfort zone is designed to keep us kind of with as little stress as possible, as little cortisol pumping through our veins as possible, because the cortisol stuff is not a good thing. But as a business owner, the way that I do it anyway is to constantly push through and constantly grow, and have those growing pains, so I can get to the next level. Now, I've not figured out an easy way in business. It's always been hard for me. Business has always been like rock hard. It's always been like pushing through things and solving problems, and you get another challenge. And then, so look, if you can comment an easier way of doing this, then I'm all for that. But I'm paying coaches, I'm tapping into their knowledge and trying to make as few mistakes as possible, but you always make mistakes. And I tell you what, the person who says that they've never failed at anything, I guarantee you it's the person who's never tried anything, because it does take a lot of fails, you know, to get to those wins, in my opinion. You've got to, how do I explain it? You've got to simply be in the game. You've got to simply, when it comes to cold calling, you've got to be picking up the phone, following the script. Yeah, having structure. So it's good to have the structure and the plan. I'm not saying just do it unscripted, but you've also got to make sure that you're actually taking the action steps. Can't be theoretical. Right, I'm going to get on with my day then. I've got a deadline. I've got to get these calls in. So I'll see you next time. And like, share, comment, subscribe. I hope somebody out there has found some value in this content. I'll see you next time.